Hey, welcome back, Algebra 2 students. We're continuing our review with the Pythagorean Theorem and the trig functions. Today is going to be a little bit more work because we're finding unknown stuff, and we got to it's not a lot more work, it's just a little bit more steps involved in getting our work done. So the first example, we have this triangle. Theta is in this corner. This is the angle on the bottom left. And it's asking us to find the sine. So notice that we do have the opposite, right? The 24 is the opposite side, but we don't have the hypotenuse in order for us to produce our sine, because sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to solve this for the hypotenuse. So we're going to say 7 squared plus 24 squared equals the hypotenuse squared. Right, so we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem first to find the missing side so we can fill in our sine. 7 squared, 49. 24 squared is 596. And then when we add those two up, we get 625. Oh wait, 576, sorry. So when we add those two up, we get 625. Which is nice because when we take the square root of 625, then c is 25. Okay, so our sine would be our opposite, which is 24, over our hypotenuse, which is 25. We just found that. And then we're done. Okay, on to the second example. It says solve for x. So what we're going to have to do for this one is we're going to have to set up a trig equation for this situation. So notice we have the opposite side and the adjacent side. Because we have the opposite and adjacent sides, we're going to use a tangent. We're going to take the tangent of 43 degrees, and we're going to say that's equal to the opposite, which is x, over the adjacent, which is 8. And then we're going to use our calculators here. Well, we're going to do some algebra first, but then we're going to end up using our calculators to find our x. So on your calculator, make sure you're in degree mode. Make sure your degree is highlighted. In fact, let's go to this calculator here. Okay, so if you're using this calculator on Google, the Google calculator, make sure your degrees is highlighted, and then we're going to just say 8 tangent 43. We're going to hit equal, and we get 7.46. So 7.46. It's always a good idea to check your work. Make sure that it's reasonable, right? This side is 8. It seems reasonable that that side's about 7.6. Now, if it were super tiny, like 0.00 something, then we might have done something wrong. Or if it was super big, then we also know that we probably did something wrong. So just check that the answer that you're inputting seems reasonable for the situation. Okay, on to number 3. This time it's asking us to find x. Now this is something you may or may not have done in geometry, so we're going to go through this. So we're trying to find an angle here. So we're going to set this up just like we did the one previously. This time though, we don't know what the angle is. So we're going to have to just say tangent of x is the opposite, which is 18, over the adjacent, which is 17. Now, thinking algebraically, what we're going to do here is we're going to do tangent inverse. So tangent inverse on both sides. And what that does is the tangent inverse will cancel out the tangent on the left side, so we get our x, which is what we want, right? We're always trying to solve for x, meaning we're going to isolate that variable. And then in our calculator, we're just going to do tangent inverse of 18 over 17. So clear this. Again, make sure we're working in degrees. And we're going to do, to get to tangent inverse, you have to press the inverse button. And we're going to do the tangent inverse, and it's going to say arctan. So 18 divided by 17, which is 46.6. Is it asking to the nearest tenth? Yeah, 46.6 degrees. And again, make sure that your answer seems reasonable. Which it does, right? 46 degrees seems like it could be that angle. Okay, and then the last one, this is actually a word problem, but it gives you the diagram, and I'm going to explain. So this is the kite. And we know that it's 95 feet above the ground. We know this angle is 48 degrees, and it's asking us to find out how much string has been let out to this kite. So we're trying to find this side here. Okay, so we located our angle, we have the opposite side, and we have the hypotenuse. So if we have the opposite side and hypotenuse, we're going to be using a sine. So we're going to say sine 48 is equal to the opposite, which is 95, over the hypotenuse, which we don't know. Okay, so this one's a little different from the other one that we had to solve for our side because our x is in the denominator, but we're not going to panic. We're just going to take it out of there by multiplying. So our x's cancels on the right side. And then, let's rewrite this. From here, to get our x, we just divide by sine 48. Okay, so we have x equals, and then in our calculator again, 95 divided by sine 48. 95 divided by sine 48, close your parentheses. And that's going to be 127.84. So 127.84, and this would be feet. Okay, so good practice working on these things, because the Pythagorean theorem and the trig functions, they help you guys to solve right triangles, which you may use in real life. There's a lot of right triangles and right angles around us wherever we go. All right, good job today.